The Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, the 12th chapter. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Friend, who set me as a judge and arbiter over you?" He said to them, "Take care, be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions." Then he told them a parable. The land of a rich man produced abundantly, and he thought to himself, "What shall I do? For I have no place to store my crops." And then he said, "I will do this. I will pull down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grains and my goods. And I will say to my soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves but are not rich toward God." That's the lectionary text, and now it continues. He said to his disciples, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body and what you will wear. For life is more than food, and your body more than clothing. Consider the ravens. They neither sow nor reap, and they have neither storehouses nor barns, and yet God feeds them. Of how much more value are you than the birds? And which of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your lifespan? If then you are not able to do so small a thing as that, why do you worry about the rest?" This is the gospel of the Lord. Please be seated. Grace, peace, and mercy are yours from the triune God. Amen. Does anybody go to Costco? Are any Costco folks? You know about Costco? You've heard of it? All right. Well, every time I go to Costco on a shopping trip, I sort of feel my anxiety start to swell up. Do other people feel that? Yeah, right? No? Chris doesn't. She loves Costco. I like Costco too. I'm a man of the people, and I will subsidize the $1.50 hot dog. I'm happy for it. But my anxiety goes up because the parking lot is always a mess, and you need to have a membership before you go in, so you have to make sure it's in your wallet before you get there, and there is a ton of people, and you have this giant shopping cart that you can't move around with, and everybody else has a giant shopping cart too, so you can't get around anybody. And you get in there, and there's bright lights above you, and there are samples everywhere, which is great, and you want them, but sometimes they run out, and you have to like circle around and try and get them. And people are trying to sell you countertops as soon as you get through the door, and you didn't come there for countertops or air filtration systems or cell phone plans, and you need to say no thank you in just the right way, that you need to acknowledge them kindly, but make it also very clear that you do not need what they want to sell you, that air cleaner or whatever. And then there are the deals, right? The deals, people. Oh, and you got this giant shopping cart, and the way the products are sometimes only seasonal, so you never know when that specific thing that you just love is going to be discontinued at Costco. And so this might be your last chance to get this thing. And so, of course, you need this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, because I have room in my shopping cart and I need it. And I will surely use it, and I am saving so much money in the long run. This is the responsible decision, you see. And I can feel my heart just beating faster as I'm spiraling out of control. I've been thinking about Costco for years now, because I love it. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I am a psychology major, and I love social psychology specifically. And I think that Costco is so clever to design their shopping experience this way on purpose, I think. I think the lights and the giant cart and the unmanageable parking lots and the memberships and the short-term, I have to buy it now things, all of that is to make us feel like we are competing against one another. It's like our anxiety spikes on purpose, and so that we make irrational decisions about things we do not need. Do you know what I mean? Watch people the next time you're there. Just go and get a hot dog and walk around. It's amazing. Our little reptile brains release some sort of hormone that says, I must have this pack of 4 dozen English muffins. You know? It's a deal. I can put it in the freezer. There's too many people here, and I need to make a decision to preserve my well-being and avoid these threats of people all around me. And this is key, I have room in my cart, and I know that I will use them eventually, probably. It's like something in the back of our hunter-gatherer DNA screams at us and says, I need this thing to survive. I need to have it. But if we can take a deep breath, we don't. Who resonates with that? No? Oh, they got a couple nods. Thank you. If it's not Costco, imagine Black Friday shopping or an estate sale or Toyotathon or Amazon Prime Day or Facebook Marketplace or Walmart or some other big sale. It's weird, right? And honestly, that shopping experience, no matter where it is, it's not just shopping. It's like a little microcosm of how humans interact. These things, these stuff, chasing after stuff or acclaim, it pulls at our hearts in really strong ways. It makes us do irrational things. And Jesus knows this, I think. And so does the anonymous teacher Robbie read about from Ecclesiastes. So Jesus tells this parable of the rich fool who is having it's a parable about a rich landowner who is having a very abundant year, right? And his crops produce a ton, and he is really, really excited. He has an overabundance, but he has a predicament. He has all this overabundance, all this extra crop, all this extra grain, and no place to put it. And so he builds new barns, pulls down the old ones to hold all the grain. And in this thought process, to find a solution to this problem, he doesn't mention anyone else. Do you guys notice that? It's almost like he thinks he is living all alone with no one else around him, like a mountain man or someone stuck on an island after a shipwreck. He even talks to himself saying, so I said to my soul, which is funny, of course. But it also points us to the person's perceived self-preservation and isolation, or at least his lack of concern for other people. And in the story, God shows up and calls him a fool. Because his very life is being demanded of him. He's going to die. And though he thought he was rich, he is actually poor in God. Fool is a very interesting title for him, though, don't you think? I mean, these stories in the Bible, there are stories of people in the Bible like Joseph, who goes to Egypt and becomes powerful and realizes that a famine's coming. So what does he do? He stores up grain. Joseph is thought of to be wise. A lot of people like Joseph. And there is all sorts of arguments for why taking advantage of a good hand dealt is a wise move. So why is he called a fool? And why not wicked or evil? Because Jesus does call people wicked and evil in the story. He is not beyond that. So why a fool? I think it's because Jesus feels sorry for him. This person in the parable, and I think the person asking Jesus to intervene on his behalf, he is missing the beauty of life, and he is a fool because he does not know contentment. Just look at this story in Ecclesiastes. Vanity, vanity, everything is vanity, right? This word vanity often gets translated meaningless. Who's heard meaningless in Ecclesiastes? Meaningless, meaningless, everything is meaningless. Great translation. A more accurate translation in the Hebrew would be smoke or vapor. It's mentioned 38 times in Ecclesiastes. It's a short book. It's like 12 chapters. It's not long. Vapor, smoke, something you try and grab onto, but you can't get it. Before you're able to hold it, it's gone. It cannot be possessed. In the book, there is this teacher, and the teacher talks about chasing after riches and acclaim and all the wisdom he could ever want, and he's found it to be meaningless. And he goes to parties, and it becomes a very influential person, and it doesn't matter. It's smoke. It can't hold water. He even tries being wise and moral and discovers that even with the best living, perfect following after the law with morality, with all of his best efforts, bad things still happen to good people. There's no predictability. Vapor, smoke, chasing after the wind. It's false hope. The teacher begins to find out that freedom and true life actually means something else entirely. The teacher discovers that this true life only comes when he's able to embrace the mystery of God and the unknowing of the divine and trust in God's presence even with everything that happens to him in life. The good things, the bad things, all of the stuff. That is the only thing that holds merit. Everything else is vapor. Everything else is mist. Nothing else matters. It rusts and decays and is forgotten in the dustbin of time. But God, the divine, there is truth there somehow. Interacting with God and God's grace pulls him to deeper meaning in life. And that deeper meaning changes the way that he's able to live with others. Now, Ecclesiastes is one of our wisdom books in the Bible. There are 3. And so what does this wisdom book have to do with our rich fool? And what makes him a fool? He's a fool because he is poor in God. What does that mean? He's been chasing after riches. Rather than being content in the mystery of God, like our wise teacher in Ecclesiastes, rather than just being gracious for a very good year of crops, he spirals. He tears down his old barns and builds new ones and goes through a whole irrational process of what to do with these new grains. The very evident rational answer is right in front of him. He's been living this way for a really long time. His barns have worked this far. If you have extra, maybe there's other people around, right? And so he builds all these new barns, and for what? He dies. His barns and the grain do not last. It's all smoke. His riches are vapor. Meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Now, there are a lot of churches out there in the world that don't like talking about money, right? And I think it's because there's shame that go around finances. A lot of folks grow up in places where you don't talk about money, you don't talk about how much things make. Maybe your parents set aside days to balance the checkbook or whatever it is, and you don't go into the kitchen when that happens, right? We have all this shame built up about money. We don't do a very good job of talking about it in church. I happen to believe that you take away something's power when you're able to talk about it, right? It's why we do confession and forgiveness. But people get really nervous. And pastors can get really nervous. And a lot of folks have this trauma around money. And so we just don't have these hard conversations. And that's really unfortunate because money is a part of life. And it can be a part of our faith. too. This story of the rich fool that Jesus tells, it resonates with me. You know, it feels so real. You know, I talk about Costco, but this feels real to me. Because there are a lot of things around money that bind us. And this is about money, and it's about a lot of other things too. It's about everything that binds us, everything that we get sucked into and chase after and try and grab and hold on to and say that this thing is mine. I said to myself, self, right? Only to find our hands empty at the end. This story is about chasing after influence and control and power, and about trying to be so good that we don't need God, and trying to look a certain way and have cool friends and have a perfectly clean house, and about all the things that will leave us empty in the end, and all the things that our reptile brains just scream at us that say, this thing, this unlocked achievement is going to save my life. And one of those things is money. Jesus knows this. It's why he talks about money a lot in the Bible. We think it's going to save us, and it won't. It makes a lot of our lives easier sometimes. But as the story continues right after this, God does take care of us. Consider the lilies. Consider the ravens. Even at the height of his power was King Solomon clothed in such beauty as this. I don't think Jesus says this to shun our taking care of ourselves, but I think Jesus knows we have this ongoing pattern as humans to worry about not having enough. And most of the time, there's enough. And unless we can let Jesus' words and grace work their way into our hearts and unwind us a little bit from this horrible spiral we are on and free us, then like the rich fool who did not know contentment, worry and anxiety is going to keep on distracting us from the gifts of God that are indeed abundantly before us and are ready to be shared. If we don't do this, we will continue to act irrationally. And we'll keep on building bigger barns instead of sharing. And chase after idols, thinking they can save us. Let us then know abundance. Let us know God's contentment. Let us be freed by grace from the spiral of scarcity, so that we can embrace the things of God that matter most. Amen. Well of Hope is an inclusive community of faith in the ELCA. We proclaim God's love for all. We create community through worship, study, and play, and we serve in love. If you want to be a part of this, sign up for our weekly email online here. Follow us on our social media, or stop by worship at 10 o'clock at New Hope Presbyterian Church. Go through the big wooden doors on the right. We look forward to seeing you.